Yo, what up guys? Welcome to the Mustang video. And this unit is it's pretty good. Sometimes it's kind of crap, but usually it's pretty good. This unit, what you want it to do is you want it to be in the back of your army. It's not a Buttstang, it's a Mustang. What this unit does is it's a range unit. It's kind of chaffy. There is a lot of them. And it does a lot of damage quickly, but also at a low amount. So it has a very good attack speed, but it has a very, very bad amount of damage. So units that have like armor mods and stuff like that can literally negate a Mustang pretty hard. But you have other means to deal with units with armor, like units that can either just straight up kill it with heavy damage, or they can EMP the armor off, and then suddenly Mustangs are good again. But Mustangs, what you will usually see Mustangs doing is they're going to be in the back of your army doing something to support your army, whether it be damage or what this upgrade says here, Missile Interceptor. So first upgrade we'll talk about is Missile Interceptor. This upgrade, in my opinion, was a really good upgrade to have in the past. Nowadays, maybe not so much, in my opinion. I think there's probably a lot of people that still think Missile Interceptor is great, but I think if you're like, if you're, you know, trying to figure out where you can make this unit work in your composition, I feel like there are other units that do Missile Interceptor better than Mustang now. And we'll get to it when we get to it. Just throwing it out there, two of them right off the top of my head are a Sabertooth and a Farseer. And the reason why is because they can intercept missiles and still also use their auto attack. Mustangs, you can't really auto attack when you're shooting missiles. It makes it stops the Mustang from doing everything it's doing, and it starts prioritizing a missile. And when there's missiles constantly coming at you, it kind of sucks. It can kind of suck because you just don't fucking get to attack anymore. So, there are reasons why it could be good sometimes. Like if you're trying to like always keep the Mustangs far back and they're just constantly killing Stormcaller missiles or something, and they're never really exposing themselves, it could arguably be good then if you're making it work that way. But anyways, Missile Interceptor, it's got viability. It shuts down the unit called a Stormcaller. It's specifically what it does. And there's other things in this game too that are considered missile projectiles that you can shut down. Like a Overlord has missile projectiles. A Farseer has missile projectiles that it shoots with. But the most common one is definitely a Stormcaller, the siege unit. But Missile Interceptor it's an okay upgrade, not my favorite. Definitely a defensive choice. You don't ever want to just open with this. It's definitely a reaction if your opponent has missiles that you want to shut down. And then moving on, we now have ranged enhancement. Range enhancement is what you know, this is on a lot of units. It's a 40 range increase. 40 range is very respectable. It's very nice. It's just going to make this unit be able to do what it needs to do from further away, which is great because this unit's very squishy. It dies super easy. So when it's further back, it actually does allow the unit to like do what it needs to do without dying. Because you can see right here, it says this unit has 95 range. 95 range is not necessarily a lot in the grand scheme of things. It's going to be like in the middle tier of units. So it's not going to be like in melee, obviously, but it definitely isn't going to be too far away. So 95 range is going to make it to where this unit is very killable. But range enhancement puts this unit at 135. So that can definitely keep it alive a little bit more consistently. But range enhancement, always a good upgrade. It's aggressive, defensive, it's everything. You could use it, how it makes the unit just better, honestly. Then you have high explosive ammo. This upgrade is actually really good when you want this unit to kill chaff. If you want your Mustangs to be your chaff killing unit, whether it be air or ground, because this unit can hit air and ground, which is why it actually is pretty good overall as a unit. As you can see, it targets air and ground right here. What this does is it makes the Mustang do 30% less damage overall, but like per shot. But now it gives a Mustang a splash in a range of 7 meters when otherwise it doesn't have splash at all. So it turns this unit from a non-splash unit to now having splash damage, which is great when you want to kill things like Fangs, when you want to kill things like Wasp, when you want to kill things like Crawler. It's super good at killing just like these annoying chaff units. And the really, really, really nice thing about it is a Mustang shoots really fast, and it doesn't really waste DPS on units like Fangs and units like Wasp. And units like Fang and Wasp can also have a defensive ability called Barrier or Shield, whatever. It's like the force field that wraps around the unit, and it absorbs all forms of damage. And what if it's done in one instance? So if like a unit that hit for like 100,000 damage were to shoot a Fang, and a Fang only has like 200 hit points, the shield would absorb it, and the Fang would still be alive. And it would be like, well, you got to hit me again. And a Mustang can deal with units that have barrier a lot easier because you just like rip the barrier off and then kill them right away because it's such a rapid firing unit. It's not really like overkilling at all. It's just quickly doing little bits of damage that it can do, and it gets rid of units that are annoying like that. So high explosive ammo is absolutely a great option when you want it to be able to kill high amounts of Fangs, high amounts of Wasp, maybe even high amounts of Crawler. I think there are better options to kill Crawler, like Fire or something like Vulcan. Something like that could be a little bit better maybe for Crawler. But Fang and Wasp particularly, this upgrade is juicy for things like that. So good if you're trying to use Mustangs as part of your build. And then overall, it's just good. If you see an opportunity where your Mustangs are like leveling up, they do decent damage right now for what you're doing, and you have something in particular you want to AoE, they could also potentially AoE something even stronger than Chaff if your Mustangs are stronger themselves. But a really good upgrade. I think it's nice. But it's situational. You don't want to use it every game. It's really just if you want your Mustangs really killing things with AoE, if you think you need it. And again, I feel like a good one is like really Wasp and Fang. If your opponent has a lot of those, that's when it really shines. Then you have Aerial Specialization. Aerial Specialization is great. Again, it pairs really well with what I just said a second ago, if it's particularly against Mass Wasp. Because not only does it make the damage go up a lot against air, which can also be doubled up with the splash, but it also gives your Mustang more range versus air too. So it helps at killing things like Wasp, but you also could argue it might be overkill against things like Wasp. It also is really good against killing other kinds of air units, like any air unit in the game, as long as it doesn't have armor and it's high level. Like Overlord and Wraith could be like level 4 or level 5 with an armor mod, and a Mustang is going to struggle pretty hard, even with aerial spec. But aerial spec definitely just allows this unit to like really like take down really annoying air units that are stronger, more durable, and it also again keeps the Mustang safer because it has the Mustang even 30 range further back to be able to shoot at it. So aerial is a very situational upgrade, and the only time you ever want to take it is when your opponent has air units that are too strong for just simply a ranged Mustang to get rid of. If you're like, damn, my ranged Mustangs aren't cutting it against this air unit, might be a great time to think about also adding an aerial spec, because again, it stacks up with the range spec, and you could really kill. Again, examples of air units that would be annoying that could fit this role would be Overlords or Phoenix, stuff like that. Maybe a Wraith, maybe even the new Phantom Ray. Phantom Ray might be kind of hard to deal with though, because that unit has a stealth mod, kind of changes things a little bit. But simply put, long story short, it just helps you kill big air units and just air units altogether. If you really need extra damage and extra range, that's really what you're looking for there. And then finally, armor piercing bullets. And again, this upgrade also stacks with everything else. It makes your damage all round against everything higher with a Mustang. So if you feel like you're really trying to like lean into the Mustang to really kill everything, but they're not doing it fast enough, you could add armor piercing bullets into the roster of your Mustang to really upgrade it in and get them going. I think again, this upgrade should not be taken first ever. I think out of all these upgrades, you should almost always go range first on Mustang. But armor piercing bullets could be good if you don't necessarily need a high explosive, and maybe you want your Mustangs to do more damage without having the downside of losing 30% of it by splashing. But you want them to do more damage to an air unit, and you stack it with aerial spec. Or you want them to do more damage to a ground unit, like maybe you're fighting against like Sledgehammer or something like that, and you want to, or like a giant unit, but you want your Mustangs that are like something you've already invested into quite a bit to be able to perform a bit better. You could add in armor piercing bullets. I feel like it's an upgrade when If you want your Mustangs to be able to just pump more damage out to really help you because you've invested a lot into them, that's when you would take it. But if you're not really investing into Mustangs that much, if you're using this unit as like a situational unit, like if you're using something else to like really do your high single target damage, which most of the time you probably will, like a marksman or something like that, or lots of units really, like Phoenix. There's a lot of units in this game that do a lot of single target damage, way more than a Mustang can provide. But if you find yourself in a situation again where your Mustangs are leveling up and maybe you have an item mod on them and you want to like even get their pump a bit higher, this is a great time to take armor piercing bullets. But yeah, I would say out of my games, I don't really take armor piercing bullets very often. I do take the other 3 upgrades though, whenever I want to use this unit much more commonly, because it just fits the role of what the unit, like this unit can counter things that it does a great job at countering it with these 3 mods here. This last one, it can be useful, but it's not as common where it's going to be like really impactful as often, I would say, in my opinion, for how at least I use a Mustang. And the way I use a Mustang most of the time is as a support unit, not as a carry. But if you use it as a carry, then that would probably be a great upgrade to use. Like early on, probably your second upgrade. And the build I run, again, is, as you saw, it's everything besides Missile Interceptor. I really feel like Missile Interceptor used to be the go-to thing that you would make Mustangs for, but since last year, they've patched the game a lot. They've added a lot of new units to the game, and I feel like this upgrade just kind of expired for this unit. I don't think it's very good anymore. You still can run it, but I think the best loadout is the bottom loadout I have, which is everything but Missile Interceptor. It just gives you the biggest range of opportunity and options with this unit to make it actually fit a spot in your team that can actually perform well. And I really feel like the best way to play this unit is you kind of play it further in the back. It can really make it less appealing for your opponent to use air units against you because you have Mustangs. And as long as you have the ability to also give this unit range, it's not super easy for it to die because it can be behind other things in the front that could tank for it better, like steel balls or sledgehammers or saber tooth or giant units or whatever. And as long as it's in the back, it can definitely do good for you. So this unit, I would say, specializes at killing air units, but it can also deal well with ground units, given some upgrades that you can add to it. And that's about it for the Mustang, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah. Little